Hey guys, what is up? It's Cinematic Productions 3 here at your guys today. In this video, we're going to be talking about Springhill Mall. So let's get into this video. So just so you know, it's just going to be a history about the cause of Springhill Mall and its like decline or like how it's going downhill, or what's its cause or whatever, So let's get into the story. So once upon a time, back in around mid-1970s, well, before the 70s, back around like the 1960s, something like that. Before, it's even older than Woodfield Mall, just so you know, in Schaumburg, Illinois. That's still around to this day, that good mall. So just so you know, once upon a time, back in the 1960s, this was one mall in Carpentersville, which sadly closed down or started to decline around the 1980s. And this mall was called Meadowdale Shopping Mall, I think. Meadowdale Mall, something like that. It was in Carpentersville, just so you know. Yes, it was in Carpentersville. And so something is that, just so you know, about that mall was like built in the 1960s, and then I think probably around the 1970s. They probably got burnt down and then they rebuilt it probably. I don't know. Because that's what my guess is, because I remember seeing some information, some stuff like that. But then by the late 1960s, that's when Woodfield Mall came in, Schaumburg, Illinois. Well, construction started until 1971. It was completed, and by around September 9th, 1971, it opened. And that's where stores like Sears was the first one, and Marshall Fields was next. And Marshall Field's also affected in Springhill Mall. I mean, we'll get to Springhill Mall stuff in a minute. But anyways, Sears was the first store in Woodfield Mall by that time. And I think there was a Sears in that one Meadowdale Carpentersville Mall shopping center or whatever. But then, by around the late 1970s, that's when things started things that were crazy started going on, because in late 1970s in West Dundee, that's when by that time the Springhill Mall property was starting construction in that former D Hill Nursery or whatever, which is the Springhill Mall property. And then by the 1980s, it opened. Since October 1980, it's like 30 years older than me, dude. Seriously, man. It's crazy that it is. But that's a good thing at the same time. Because, back then, around that time, 1980 in, October, that Springhill Mall place opened. And then, by that time, that Meadowdale Mall shopping center started to decline. And the craziest part is that they're both in Dundee Township. They're both in Carpentersville, except the difference is that the Meadowdale's in the east side of Carpentersville, and Springhill Mall is in the west side of Carpentersville, in West Dundee. Well, it's mostly in West Dundee, while it's in a small portion of Carpentersville. But here is what just gets a lot more crazier and crazier even more. So what gets crazier even more is that it gets crazy that Meadowdale Mall shopping center starts to decline. And maybe probably around 1983 to 1984 or something like that. Or probably 1990s, I don't know, whatever the fuck. That mall started to decline and start closing down. But if I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If you guys send me the comments about the actual date of the Meadowdale shopping mall closing down for good and demolishing, then you guys are right. Please, if you grew up in Carpentersville and going to that Meadowdale Mall, but we all grew up going to Springhill Mall for sure. That's a fact that we all agree on. That for sure. Springhill Mall was peak. If you hated it, I understand. I respect that. Because it gets to the part where I started to hate Springhill Mall for a bit of a while, when starting to like it again and regretting. So by then, in Springhill Mall, stores like Sears, stores like JCPenney, stores like Marshall Fields, stores like Carson Pierce Scott later opened in Springhill Mall around later in the 1980s in Springhill Mall, of course, for sure. But what else is that? For Springhill Mall, the really craziest part is that, like, something shocking and something crazy is that, like, it's really crazy to think and believe that in Springhill Mall, it's crazy, man. Sorry for that, guys. Sorry. Let's get back to the story. So it was crazy about how Springhill Mall was. But, like, the craziest part is that in Springhill Mall, it's crazy that, like, Sears was open at that time. And just so you know, Springhill Mall's, like, entrances layout was, like, different by that time. I'm pretty sure probably around, like, either the 1990s or the 2000s. Like, if you grew up going to Springhill Mall, or if you always go there anytime, if you work there, I'm pretty sure you know about what they did with their entrances, where they, like, had to remodel or renovate it. I'm pretty sure they did it around, like, 1993 to 1994. I don't know. Have they ever do it? I don't know. But, oh yeah, I do remember. I think Carson Perry Scott opened probably around, like, 1980s or 90s. I think 90s. I don't really know. JCPenney probably later in the 1980s. I think something like that. But then here where it comes to the golden days. So from the 1980s to the early 2000s, Springhill Mall was in their golden ages. They were in the golden eras, golden ages. And then by around 2004, it slowly started, like, ever since that this new Commons in Algonquin opened, that's when it slowly started going downhill. And by the mid 2000s, it started going downhill. It started slowly declining. But not all stores closed. I mean, we already know that. One of the stores when the Springhill Mall property closed by 2004, and then Home Depot took over. That's what's for sure. The fact for sure. But, like, what else I do remember is that, like, that new Commons in Algonquin was like going uphill, while the Springhill Mall was going downhill. They were starting to decline, lose some stores. But not really, because here when it gets to late 2010s. But for now, I'm not gonna bring it. I'm just gonna bring it up, like, after we get through all the other stuff for sure. Because, like, by the time it hit, like, 2010s, by 2010s, well, we already know we were all born in that decade. People around my age, probably, depending on who, you know. By the time, or early 2010s, late 2000s, early 2010s, whatever shit, doesn't matter, we consider it. Because, like, by the time it hit the early 2010s, Springhill Mall was still slowly declining. It was still at the same decline that time. And by the time Springhill Mall was still at the same decline, the craziest part is just that by around January, JCPenney announced that they would close their location at Springhill Mall. And by the time it was June 1st, it closed. It started to close by June 1st, 2011. In 2011. And that's crazy, man. Because that's, like, it's crazy because Diego wasn't even born that time. Because Diego's birthday is July 14th. Crazy that my friend Jacob Taylor wasn't born that time, because his birthday is June 15th. Crazy that Walter Tucker wasn't born, because his birthday is June 12th. Jane Soto was not born that time. Andrew and Jane Nelson, they were born that time. They were born by June 2010, which is crazy, but still my grade. And I'm not going to tell you how it all happened with Jane Nelson. Like, it's crazy that Michael Bohm wasn't born that time until August 2011 and August 31st. Crazy that, like, my friends, which were born after June 1st, 2011, was, like, late to see it. Or they're not lucky to see it. Well, I mean, well, I'm pretty sure that I never even saw the Springhill Mall with the JCPenney's, because I didn't even know it. Bro, because I didn't even see it happen. I never even think it existed. But then by around, like, 2012, that Toys R Us closed down. But instead, they would not leave the property abandoned, because little did they know, LA Fitness would just take over. To be honest, I think LA Fitness is really good. But here where it gets crazy, because by 2013, Super Bounce opens. 2014, Springhill Mall's still fine, okay, normal. And then the craziest part is that around in 2008, something crazy suggests that Walmart almost got rid of Springhill Mall. The East Dundee Walmart almost got rid of Springhill Mall, bro, because they were planning to make a super center in somewhere else in Dundee Township, and they thought West Dundee would be a good option, but then there's not like enough space, not enough room. Plus, just so you know about Springhill Mall, like they almost like got rid of Springhill Mall because the Springhill Mall people didn't even want Walmart in that area. And plus, what if residents or neighbors like complaining, you know? But I'm just glad that by around 2012, they insisted, or instead just moved to Carpentersville. They plan to move to Carpentersville, and then by around 2016, what we should already know is that that store opened in 2016 by June. It was like a month after my sister was born. My sister was born in May 2016. In my opinion, I do not like the new Carpentersville Walmart location. I really miss the old East Dundee Walmart location. But, like, let's get back to the story of Springhill Mall. Sorry for that, guys. Because this is about some stuff Walmart almost did to Springhill Mall, but never even happened. But, like, by 2015, later in October, the craziest part is just that Springhill Mall got JCPenney demolished. They demolished JCPenney. Yes, you heard me. JCPenney got demolished because we're making a way to start construction and build the new Cinemark Theater. The new Cinemark Theater is really good, I guess, you know, except the sad part is that they destroyed the other Springhill Mall entrance, dude. Sadly, unfortunately. But then by 2017, it still was the same. It still was the same either way. 2017, Springhill Mall was still the same. When even that new Cinemark Theater was open by the time, it was probably between 2016 and 17, like either later in 2016 or early in 2017. The Cinemark Theater opened. I don't know. I don't remember. And by 2018, it'll slowly start going downhill even more. You want to know why? It's because of they were closing down Carson Pyrie Scott. Bro, it's just bullshit, man. Bogus. Since they got rid of it. Sorry, guys. Sorry for what I was screaming. I've never even been into Carson Pyrie Scott. I grew up going into Macy's, though. I've grown up going into, you know, like, Sears. Man, I miss Sears, bro. It's just shit since Sears fucking closed. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry if I crashed out, okay? I'm sorry if I screamed, because it's just some bullshit! Oh my gosh, okay, I'm sorry for crashing out. I'm sorry for screaming. I'm crashing out a lot. I'm sorry for crashing out too much. I'm sorry, guys, okay? I was just dumb with me. I'm sorry. That's bogus and stupid of me. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm really sorry. But then, like, by around, like, yeah, I miss Sears, but if Sears is like, here's something crazy. I'm gonna let you guys know and tell you. You guys will still be happy, even if it's sad. Even if you guys are sad, you guys are still gonna be happy either way. What's still around or left in Sears? Because the craziest part is that even if Sears is closed, the craziest part is that Sears hardware department or whatever, the Sears hardware stores or department still open. And yes, I told you guys about it in that last video. Like, I told you about like where Sears is like about where Sears has like their hardware stuff or like appliance repair still operating at any location where they would come to your house. And plus, just to let you know, remember, because guess what, I got something for you guys. This blender, you guys remember when I used to have this blender base? Like, let me give you guys a close look. This shit right here. Remember back when this blender base would work, this Oscar blender base would work, and then somehow by around July it stopped working because guess what? I told my mom about it, because like the truth is I regret not asking mom about my mom about that Sears place. I didn't even know about Sears can come to your house to get that thing fixed. Because like, just so you know, around like probably around later in spring, probably around like April or so, or probably by end of this month or early in April, I'm gonna ask mom to like make sure she can get that blender fixed. Because just so you know, like I'm gonna tell her about the Sears appliance repair, and I'll tell her that she can get that blender fixed. It'll actually be after Easter. It won't be earlier in April because I probably might be in Michigan that time. I don't know. But seriously, like, I'm gonna ask my mom to make sure that she would get that thing fixed by the time when I get into her house, like after Easter's over, all that stuff. Because I'm in Michigan by that Easter. Right? Who knows? Someone in Michigan can fix it? Nah, I don't think so. But just to let you know, by 2000 and let's get back to the Springhill Mall stuff, because by around 2018, Carson's Pyries got closed, and then by around 2019, sadly, it's just that later in 2019, Springhill Mall was going downhill even more. They were starting to decline even more, and that's what started making me hate Springhill Mall. That's what caused me to start hating on Springhill Mall by later in 2019 or like 2020. Because just so you know, by 2019 in like December, around late November to early December or whatever, later November or December, they were closing down. They're like Sears was planning to close their location in Springhill Mall, and same thing with Macy's. But seriously, like Sears and Macy's, they're both closing down by. They're both planning to close by like late 2019, and then by early 2020, by around like by the time when 2020 just hit the corner, by around winter, by around February 2020, it started to become bullshit for Springhill Mall, because Springhill Mall closed Sears down, sadly. Sears was closed down Springhill Mall. That's crazy that between Woodfield Mall and Springhill Mall, there's the Sears headquarters between Woodfield Mall and Springhill Mall. That's the craziest shit I've ever heard and seen in my life. Yes, it's true. It's crazy that the Sears headquarters is closer between Springhill Mall and Woodfield Mall. But like by around 2020, late in March, Macy's closed down sadly as well. And that's when I started to hate Springhill Mall. I started taking my anger shit out of Springhill Mall. I started hating on Springhill Mall, saying some shit about it. Started talking garbage and talking trash. And you never realize what you have till it's gone, because even what you have is going downhill. You should still appreciate that it's still around, because it's better than not having it no more. It's still better than nothing. Because I just regret saying hateful stuff about Springhill Mall, man. But if you hate it, I understand. I respect that. I don't care if people say stuff like, or call it gangland or whatever. I don't care if people call it gangland or the ghetto land. I don't really care if people call it ghetto or some gangland. Because I grew up going to Springhill Mall either way. And just so you know, by around February 2020, I know it was winter 2020, early winter 2020, in early 2020, by around like January 2020, late January 2020. That's when it was my last time being at Springhill Mall, man. Springhill Mall, like it was my 2020's year that it was my last time going to Springhill Mall, dude. It just breaks in my heart that Springhill Mall is just no more, man. It's just gone, dude. Because I grew up going to Springhill Mall, man. It just sucks that they closed down. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, man. It's just bullshit, man. Because Amazon fucking took over. Amazon took over. I mean, I love Amazon, but I really wish that people can just. I really wish government was good all the time. But I'm just not gonna disrespect government, man. Or the law or anything. I am not gonna I'm mad at Amazon for what they did, because you do realize that if people don't feel like going outside, they can just oh my gosh, what's going on with me? If people don't feel like going outside, they can just order from Amazon if they feel like ordering or shopping, but not in real life. But if people feel like going outside or in the mood to, then we can go to places like malls or anything, man. Excuse me, sorry. Like malls or anything, Oh my gosh. Oh my yikes. Oh my goodness, man. And then by 2021, they were just becoming a ghost town. They became a ghost town by that time, sadly. And by around 2022, still the same stupid shit happened. 2023, still the same stupid stuff happened. And little did Springhill Mall know, it was its last time existing, man. It was its last year of being in a store that's been existing. Last time of its existence. And by 2024, the final year of its existence, man. Man, I really miss the greater days of Springhill Mall. The most good days of that mall, man. Feels like shit since they closed down. Because by around March 2024, like by around February 2024, they were having eviction. They were doing some eviction notices. And then by around March 2024, it was its last time being open, man. Like, I just regret, like, saying hateful or hurtful stuff about Springhill Mall, man. We all do, but at the same time, it's life. Life it is what it is. It is what it is. Life just must go on. And you can live the life the way you want to live. Live the way you want to live. Live like Springhill Mall still exists. In your head, in your mind, here, in your heart, alright? Like, it just sucks to be seeing Springhill Mall close down. And then by the time it hit, like, late 2024, I don't know, have I ever doubted the Springhill Mall or something? I don't know. But then by around, just in time, in, like, April 2025, I started thinking about Springhill Mall. It was actually March, because in March, I started thinking about Springhill Mall a lot, man. And I just regret saying those stuff about Springhill Mall, dude. It was my childhood mall either way. It was such a good mall, no matter what. Even if I said some retarded stuff, some bad things about that mall, it was still my childhood mall either way. I still love that mall no matter what, man. And my first time going to Springhill Mall, I'm pretty sure it was probably around 2011 or something, or 2014, I don't know, I don't remember. Yeah, I think it was probably 2011. 2011, it was probably my first time going to that mall. And then by around, like, May, we already know that they started demolishing. Then by October, it was all done. It was all gone. The Springhill Mall property was gone by that time. There were no more. They were just dust. Just rubble. And now let's get to the part where Springhill Mall is downhill, in my opinion. Alright. So, in my opinion, of Springhill Mall and their causes are downhill or decline. My opinion, I feel like that back in the 2010s when I was born, Springhill Mall was still fine as it was. I remember going to Aunt Anne's, all that stuff, riding their train. In my opinion, that mall was still good either way. It was still regular, still normal. Springhill Mall was still normal to me either way. It never even went downhill, in my opinion, until probably around, like, 2018. 2018, they're still fine. 2019, like, around 2019, I didn't even know they're going to close down Sears and Macy's. And then by around 2020, that's when, in my opinion, they just started going downhill. That's what's my opinion. In my opinion, I feel like that Springhill Mall started going downhill by 2020 and 20 since January, when they were going to, like, close down Sears and Macy's, all that stuff, man. It's just really sad and stupid. And I really missed going to their Super Bounce, because Super Bounce there was awesome. It was so cool. It was, like, a really nice little place. But then by the time when Sears and Macy's closed down, that's when it started going downhill even more. That's what my opinion is about for Springhill Mall. That's what my opinion is about for Springhill Mall. That's like Springhill Mall in my opinion. But if I had an imaginary world, I'll pretend Springhill Mall still exists either way, and the good old stores that are gone still exist. Older locations that I grew up going to still exist either way, no matter what. So, yeah. Anyways, guys, subscribe for more. And subscribe if Springhill Mall is the best mall you've ever been to. And subscribe if you think Woodfield Mall is still the same, or still the greatest mall of all, good mall. And it's crazy that Springhill Mall and Stratford Mall had Macy's that look alike. Did you know that? But then one of them turned into Woodman's. I mean, Woodminster's actually good, not gonna lie. In my opinion about the Stratford Mall, I've been there, except I don't remember going there. But I do remember going to Springhill Mall. And about Stratford Mall, it's crazy that for Stratford Mall, it's crazy that, like, they opened by March in 1981. It's really crazy that they both closed it in spring 2024 and demolished in the spring. But in different years. The year after, the year before, the year after, you know. So, yeah. Whoa. Yeah, I should stop doing that. I know you guys are like, bro, you're gonna break your glasses. Stop. Don't do that. Yeah, I know you guys are like that. I'm sorry. But in my opinion about Springhill Mall, sorry, shit, I meant. What about Woodfield Mall? Woodfield Mall is still the same. I'm still glad they're still the same. Bro, and something I would imagine is that imagine if Woodfield Mall saved all the malls that we grew up across America, even our childhood ones. Imagine if Woodfield Mall saved Springhill Mall. Imagine it saving Stratford. Imagine it saving like Sears, all that stuff. Cause that'd be great. That would be really good. Not gonna lie. And it's crazy. It's crazy that like Woodfield Mall still remaining the same. It's just that what made me sad is that ever since Sears closed down, sorry for that, some chalk noise. Sorry. But my opinion about Woodfield Mall, I feel like that hasn't been the same since Sears closed and shut down, because I always loved going to Sears. Like seriously, I grew up going to Sears. I grew up shopping at Sears a lot. It's just that ever since they closed down, whenever they closed down, it started to feel stupid for me, man. Feel bullshit. But in my opinion, Sears at Woodfield Mall started going downhill around like 2020, dude. 2020, that's when they started going downhill. And ever since they closed, it started to feel sad. It hasn't even been the same no more. But either way, Sears lives on in my heart, lives in my hair, in my mind, in my brain, lives in my imaginary life, my imaginary brain, my own world. Like, bro, we'll just say it lives in my own life, in my own world and dimension. And the craziest part is that outside America, Sears is still alive and still open in all of those other places. Either way, guys. But anyways, guys, subscribe for more. See you guys in next videos. Talk to you more. Bye-bye.